Hi everybody, I'm here for video number 3 for week 3 of our Remote Incredible Years course. It's the next day. I'm filming this the day after yesterday because I couldn't get any sense in my video for this. So I'm going to film it in lots of little parts and kind of edit it together because I will go off on a tangent, and if you've watched my other videos, you know I can go off on a tangent. So, why is emotion coaching important? Now, in the Incredible Years, we are still under this umbrella of descriptive commenting, and this is one of our last coaching things. So, we've done social coaching, this is emotion coaching. What you will find with emotion coaching is it links really well to persistence coaching, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So, why is emotion coaching important? Well, before I get into that, we're going to do a little bit of brain development. So I'm also going to add a link to a YouTube video, to like an animated version, which explains this really well, probably better than I will. And it's very geared towards children. So if you've got older children, this will be really useful for you to show them. So if any of you have heard the term flipping your lid, like getting really angry, you've flipped your lid, this kind of puts it into context of brain development. So this is my brain. So imagine this is the front of my head, this is my spinal cord, and this is my brain stem at the back here. So the way that our brain is made up is in here, right on the inside, it's that really primitive brain, okay? Millions of years old, and that is responsible for things like the fight, flight, or flee response. So we see a bear, do we fight? Do we flight? Do we run away? Or do we freeze? Okay. That also controls all the automatic things that go on in our body. So our heart beating, kind of urination, breathing, all of that type of stuff that we don't even think about, it controls that. On top of that, deep within our brain, something called the limbic system. Okay. My hands aren't very flexible, right? So within our brain, it's our limbic system, and that controls our emotions. Okay, it controls some other things as well, but that is effectively in control of our emotional development and our emotions, how we're feeling. Okay, and it's very integrated into the spinal column because it takes in all these senses. So that is why when you feel an emotion, you might get butterflies in your tummy, you might feel flustered, you might be sweating, you might get clammy hands. It links really, really, really well with what's going on in our body and how we feel. Over the top of all of this, containing it all, is something called our cerebral cortex. So that big wormy looking thing on the top that you might have seen in pictures or in diagrams, that is the cerebral cortex. What that does is it controls our thoughts, our logic, our reasoning, problem solving, the fact that I can reach out and do this, the fact that I am making decisions with what to do with my body. That is all the cerebral cortex. Now, what's really interesting is that this bit at the front, prefrontal, the frontal lobe, that is really to do with rational thought, logic and rational thought. However, a lot of research has been done on the brain, and there's a lot of research to suggest that this part of the brain, that really logical part of the brain, is the last thing to develop. And what we know is that actually brains don't fully develop, wait for it, until we are about 25 years old. So some of you might be like, oh, no way. Or, yeah, that makes complete sense. I know myself, I probably was not logical or rational at all until I was about 27. So, it's this is really important information, because when we're thinking, and a lot of you will be here because your child is unable to control their emotions, lashes out, has that fight, flight, or freeze response, and we're expecting them to be able to control it. But we know that this bit doesn't actually develop fully until we're about 25 years old. So, why is emotion coaching important? Because what can happen is, if you notice how close everything is, you might see a bear. That's scary. That's the emotion bit. That's scary. Do we fight, or do we fly? Do we run away? Oh no, your cortex says it's a toy bear. Oh, that's okay. Not as scary. Quite fun. Quite happy. Oh, we're all right. We don't need to do anything. So this is all talking really, really fast all the time. What can happen is sometimes our limbic system and our kind of primitive brain can be kind of going full pelt, like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? We are full of emotions. We don't know what we're doing. Oh my God. Now, if you think about it, if that cortex isn't fully developed, what's going to happen? You're going to flip your lid. It's not going to be able to contain what's going on in the middle of your brain. Not going to be able to contain it at all. And that's when we get this big over emotional response. This is when we get the tantrums, the pushing, the aggression. We don't know what's happening, all the running away, the fleeing. So all of those big emotional responses are because that cortex, the lid has been flipped. So emotion coaching can be really helpful. The reason being is, what it does, it helps to develop the cerebral cortex, and it helps children to give a name to what's going on in here. If you think about it, emotions are feelings, they are physiological responses. Something's going on in your body. You might feel a bit sick. You might, when you feel scared, you might feel anxious. You might, those sweaty palms, your heart rate's going. You might start shaking. That's really, really hard to understand. If we can give a name to those subtleties between that physical feeling of emotion, we can start to understand it, and it's going to strengthen that lid. Okay. A second reason that emotion coaching can be really helpful for children is because it's okay to not be okay. By using emotion coaching, what you are doing is you are giving your child permission to feel a specific, different feelings, and that is okay. One thing that you would have seen lots in the media about promoting mental health in children, in adults, this is one of the big messages. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel the feeling that you are feeling in this time. And what that can do is really validate your child and really help them to understand their emotions as well. And actually to feel heard, to feel like, oh, it's all right. And mum or dad get me. You guys get me, and you're going to help me. Now, for very young children, their emotional regulation is you. You are going to be the one that helps them soothe, helps them calm down. For children age five plus, they can start to learn those strategies themselves. And what that looks like generally is that supporting that physical calming of the body. So usually it's deep breaths, usually it's kind of taking yourself away, chilling out. So they can start to learn those strategies, and they are strategies that will help support that brain development, help support that rational part of the brain. And also it's a life skill that they can kind of take forward. They know when they need to kind of take themselves away from a situation that could potentially lead in them flipping their lid. Okay.